Test, test. Test, test. Test, test.
What are the odds we're going to get together? 26 before Monday.
I'm about to let Thelma Drake in.
I'm not as worried about it, that one, but I don't want to go too long. We submitted it and they tentatively approved.
Good morning, Thelma.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you guys? Are you in Richmond?
Many of us are in Richmond and many of us are in the Alexandria office.
Yeah, so I'm looking at two different offices on there. I see it. I was looking at one. I'm like, where are they sitting around that table, all those people? So
The Fulton Yard
Okay.
office is in Richmond and the Shenandoah conference room is in Alexandria.
Okay, got it. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Payne.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Crawford.
Good morning. Thank you.
We're good.
And hey, everybody, just while we're having Jonathan set that up to remind everybody.
Michael, do we have the live stream up and running?
Yep, we're good.
Thank you. Then I will officially call this meeting to order and start by turning it over to Joan Verbanens to give us a safety briefing.
Good morning, everyone. I can confirm that we conducted our safety briefing in the Shenandoah Conference Room in Alexandria already. Fulton Yard in Richmond, can I get a thumbs up that you've done the same?
We'll do it right now.
Oh, very good. Thank you. While they are on mute and conducting their safety briefing, I would remind everyone else who's dialing in virtually, please be aware of your surroundings, have an evacuation strategy should you need one, and make sure that you take into consideration your environment, looking out for the people that you are with. Have an evacuation strategy. As I mentioned, we do have protocol in our office for active shooters, flee, hide, fight. And then the only other thing that I will take a moment to mention, it's not short on anyone, that it has been very hot for a very long time, and hydration and being mindful of that is super important. So especially if you have to spend any time outside, please be very careful with that. The heat is a real thing. So we will wait for Fulton to wrap up their safety briefing and take it from there.
We are complete. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. This should be a fairly short meeting today, but we do have some exciting updates to share with the board and, of course, some closed session negotiations to discuss. And then towards the end of the meeting, we will approve our, what are we approving? The budget and the management reserve. So with that, I will turn it over to Mary Estelle to do a roll call on the attendance and ensure we have a quorum.
Thank you. Ms. Bushu? Mr. Cardwell? Mr. Crawford?
Present.
Mr. Dalton? Mr. Delandro? Ms. Dorsch?
Here.
Ms. Drake? Ms. Drake, are you still with us? Mr. Flowers?
Yeah.
Mr. Jordan?
Present.
Mr. Maestri? Ms. Moses Ned, she will be joining us just a few minutes late. Mr. Payne?
I'm here. Thank you.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Present.
Mr. Watkins? So I don't have a quorum if Mrs. Drake isn't available. I'm not sure if she dropped off or what happened.
She was on, I saw her join, and it does look like she has dropped. So, yeah.
So Mary Estelle, I have 7 board members on camera. I have Miss Reinhardt, Mr. Jordan, I have Miss Robinson. I think I see Mr. Crawford.
I didn't count Ms. Robinson. I'm sorry, Mr. Westerman. We do
Yeah,
have
so
7 there.
she's non-voting except in the case of a tie, but she absolutely counts toward a quorum. So we have the bare minimum for a quorum here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
And I'll watch for Ms. Drake to come back on. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So I did send a message to Ms. Drake. So we'll hope that she's able to rejoin. I know she was planning to attend today, but as we have a quorum, we will go ahead and move forward. with approve. Actually, I'm going to first take a minute to see if we have any public comment. Do we have any members of the public who have joined that would like to make any comment?
We do not, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you. So hearing none, and it looks like Ms. Drake was able to rejoin. So glad to have you.
Thank you.
So with that, we will move to item number 6 on our agenda, and for approval of the meeting minutes from our May 22nd meeting. Everyone received these ahead, and assuming everyone has had time to review, I would ask for someone to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 22nd.
I'll make that motion.
And then second.
Thank you very much. Mary Still, did you get that? The first and the second?
Did Ms. Reinhardt, did you make the motion?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
And who seconded it? I'm sorry.
Darian.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers.
Thank you. It is, as we're virtual on screen, we hear voices, but sometimes it's hard to pinpoint who was speaking. So we can, as we make motions, maybe it's easy to let everybody know who's calling out. That would be really helpful. We have a motion and a second. I would ask for all in, actually, Mr. Westerman, because we are virtual, do we need to take a roll call vote?
I believe we can vote the same way that we do in person. Why don't we do a roll call vote for the purposes of this approval of the minutes, and I'll check that quickly for future votes for this meeting, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you. Mary Estelle, would you mind taking a roll call vote for approval of the minutes?
Let's see. Mr. Crawford?
Approved.
Ms. Dorsch?
Aye.
Ms. Drake?
Aye.
Mr. Flowers?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Robinson, I will note that what I was getting ready to say, I just confirmed, we'll vote the same way. If it pleases you, we'll vote the same way that we do in person. There aren't special rules about roll call voting versus voice votes, just because we're all virtual.
Wonderful. Thank you. We'll note that for going forward. But the motion passes and the meeting minutes for May 22nd are approved. And with that, we will move to item number 7 on our agenda for a report from our executive director.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, directors. I appreciate you all coming together for this virtual meeting. I am going to give a condensed executive director's report on Monday, the last day of the month, as I always do. I will send out a more fulsome report, but I felt like since we were going into significant detail on some of the bigger projects that we have finalized negotiations on, I thought, given the time constraints, a condensed report would be more appropriate. That said, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So first slide, we just have a brief slide on public outreach. Over the last few months, we've been working very hard, our communication team, on getting out in the community. You see the bullets there. We've been at public meetings, bike to work days. We've been out at VPRA stations. We're letting folks know specifically on our major projects, and these are from Longbridge, what's going to be happening from a construction point of view in the upcoming months. This is pretty important because we're going to be having changes to people's commutes starting July 11th, I believe. We're going to have some roads that are shut down as we continue to work on Longbridge, and we've been very proactive in getting out in the community and letting them know, here's what you're going to see, here's where the roads are going to be shut down, so there are no surprises. These meetings have been very well attended. In fact, there was one meeting in DC that was attended surprisingly by a member of Virginia Politics, and he was very impressed with our message. It's not always good news. People don't get thrilled that their commutes are going to change, but we've been open, we've been transparent, and as you've heard from me before, no surprises. So this outreach has continued and will continue as we move forward and continue in construction. But just a great job by the communications team. Next slide, we've got May ridership. It's 8.5% higher than May of last year. May of 2025 was actually our fourth highest month ever. We continue to show that folks are riding the train and folks are anxious to have additional options. It continues to solidify and validate why what we're doing is so important to the community and to the Commonwealth. The slide after this just shows the region by region basis. Roanoke this month at least led the packet increase, being up 11%, but Norfolk and Newport News were just below that at 9.5% and 7%. People look at the Richmond train and say, wow, it's only a 2.6% increase. A couple comments there. Number one, a 2.6% increase is still very, very good. And number two, a lot of folks have left the Richmond train and instead taken the Norfolk or the Newport News train because the timing is better for them. So just because we've got the lower increase in Richmond, there are plenty of folks on the Newport News route or on the Norfolk route that only take the train from DC, let's say to Fredericksburg, or DC to Richmond. But because they're on the train that continues to Norfolk, they count as Norfolk ridership, not Richmond ridership. So across the board, good news, as I said on the previous slide, an 8.5% increase year over year is more than we could ever hope for. It's continued good news. Next slide, I just want to go into detail on some of the capital projects we won't be talking about today in detail. The first is Alexandria Fourth Track. We actually just yesterday, CSX released the invitation for bid. You see there that it's anticipated by July of 2025. It went out a little bit early because we are making good progress with a lot of the right-of-way acquisition, which I'll talk about in a second. But that project remains on schedule. We got the bid out just a little bit early. A lot of the land, as we've talked about, there are just slivers of land that we need to acquire, some of it permanent easements, some of them just temporary construction easements. We have worked with the communities, Alexandria, Arlington, WMATA, and there are a couple JVG private owners that we've worked with. No problems going forward. As you see on this slide, we'll be attending the Alexandria City Council meeting on July 1st to get approval for some of those temporary construction easements. We've briefed the city ahead of time. They are fully supportive. They actually love what we're doing to get folks off the roads and also on the King and Commonwealth bridges. So we don't foresee that being a problem. The next slide shows just where we are. We've got 46 lots of land that we need to acquire in various aspects, again, either temporary or permanent easements. You can see the status of where we are. We're really comfortable with the status of what's being done. Appraisals are done and negotiations continue. Even where negotiations are ongoing, there are only a couple that haven't gone incredibly smoothly. We've got two private folks that just haven't responded. They're small pieces of land that really have no impact on the folks that are there. We just haven't had a response from them yet, but no red flags to date, knock on wood. Any questions about Alexandria Fourth Track? All right, the next project is Franconia Lorton Third Track. Just continued good news. We got the 100% design package just last week from CSX, and we expect to get that in the bids process for early works sometime in, we'll get the bids the first week of July. So this continues on track, no issues to report at all. And then the final project that I'm going to talk about is the New River Valley project. This is slightly ahead of schedule. Don't tell NS I told you that. But we continue with construction. If you actually go down there, you'll see a lot of dirt moving. The next slide will show you a couple pictures, both at the Radford layover facility, where they're putting up a sheet pile wall. A sheet pile wall is, you've seen them on the highways. They're hard to explain, but they put metal basically in. They're used quite frequently around bridges to keep landscaping back. But what this is going to do is this is going to separate our layover facility from the NS yard tracks, which will still be a working yard. So that way, when crew is there cleaning the train as it lays over, or the crews are signing up, they have a clear, safe separation from the yard tracks that are in place. That wall is actually under construction. You can see it under construction now. And then at the actual station site, they're doing a lot of excavation, starting the grading, making good progress there. The weather has been great. We haven't had any weather issues. So that continues to be positive movement, with train service starting no later than 2027 and hopefully early 2027, if not earlier. So those are the projects, just quick updates that we are not going to be talking about in detail. I wanted to just run through them. Again, Monday, I'll send out to all of you the fulsome executive director's report with all of the numbers and all of the additional detail on the other projects. We'll post it on the website the first of the month, again, as normal. But just wanted to give these updates and offer the opportunity for anybody to ask any questions on these. Okay, I've counted to 7. I yield my time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, DJ. And obviously we'll have more time throughout the meeting to ask questions, but now we will move to item number 8. And I would ask, I think Mike McLaughlin to kick us off on our project updates.
Sure. Yes, I'm also here with some of our project managers. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. I'm going to start with the Longbridge folks. Sirlene, you've been before them, but just again.
I'm Sirlene Cleveland, Senior Director for the Longbridge Project.
Good morning. I'm Ian Langan. I'm Project Manager for Longbridge.
So do want to state that what we're doing here is setting up Shannon and Steve for item number 10. So we're going to talk to you about some of the cost estimates and what's going to go into the budget, the amended FY26 budget in item number 10. At the same time, they're going to give some updates on the project. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sirlene and Ian.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. So just to give you an update on where we stand with the progress on the north package of Longbridge, we do have an amended budget of $1.65 billion. We will get into the details of that once we go into closed session. But we did want to show you some of the progress that we've been making. You can see in the picture there on the right-hand side, a drill, a machine that will drill shafts that we're going to test, or we have tested to determine the capacity of those that can then inform the design for the retaining walls in the project. So we finished those test shafts. Next, right now, we are doing micropiles. We're doing a similar activity to doing those test micropiles, seeing what their capacity is, and then that will be used to inform the design, particularly in Main Avenue. That's where we'll be doing a lot of those micropiles. And another area for Early Works Package 1 is under the Maryland Avenue overbuild, where we are reinforcing the existing crash walls there, making them higher and stronger. So we've started that work, and we will start concrete pours early next week. Additionally, DJ had talked about how we would start a work zone in Maiden Lane. That's right off of Main Avenue, near where the Salamander Hotel is and that whole Portals complex. The plan is that that will be implemented starting July 11th. So looking forward to getting an NTP for this phase 2 of this contract, but we'll talk more about that once we get into closed session. Okay, so any questions about this, about the progress on this project? Okay, with that, let's go to South Package. So you can see in this picture here that they are out in the river doing geotechnical borings. That also will be used to determine the capacity of the soil to inform the design of the piles in the river. The budget for this remains unchanged in the amended FY 2026 budget, which is $1.013 billion. So yeah, we are doing the borings in the river, but we're also doing borings on land as well. And we are working towards an open seed for mobilization and staging in September. Any questions on South Package? All right, I'll hand it over to Jeff Pelletier. I think you're Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, I'll hand it over to Ian. He's going to show you some visualizations of the construction of the bridges in the river that were prepared by the contractor.
Yep. Thank you, Sirlene. So the next 2 slides, we're going to go through 4D animations, and this will explain Longbridge Rail Partners' approach to the construction of the substructure and the superstructure units across the Potomac River. So what you're seeing here at the top, you've got time, and then on the right-hand bottom corner, that's the southern end of the project, close to the Longbridge Aquatic Center. The north top corner, the left top corner is the northern approach of the Potomac in East Potomac Park. And we can go ahead and play here. Longbridge Rail Partners has developed a marine approach. That is, they will be in the water for the majority of the construction of the rail bridge and the bike pedestrian bridge across the river. But they're going to start with land access across GWNP. You can see in the bottom right, they've established 2 spans across the parkway, and that's really to feed smaller materials. They'll start in the river from each approach and work their way across the river. There'll be 2 pile driving cranes along with barge units that will help support building the piers. From there, the spans, the structural steel that you see there in brown, those will actually float upriver from a marine access point that is actually adjacent at the base of the Harry Nice Bridge, Route 301 over the Potomac. So those spans will be assembled down there at that location, and then they will float upriver. This is a little different method than had been envisioned during PE. They had envisioned that they would build a trestle across the river in order to build both bridges. But instead, this marine approach actually saves time, but also is more environmentally friendly. There are several hundred piles that would support that trestle that are no longer needed. So in this way, a lot less impact to the actual river and the river bottom. But also it has its schedule benefits as well. From here, they've got the bridge across the Potomac for the rail bridge, and then they will use that as a construction trestle for the pedestrian bridge, which we can roll to the next slide, please. Looks like it just started over.
Oh, what's
there we go. Yep. And then we can play. And this is the pedestrian bridge. Again, they're building across GWNP through the park, and then they'll have again barges that will have the pile driving cranes on them, as well as the substructure construction. And then from there, they will utilize the rail bridge in order to be their construction trestle that will hang the spans for the new bike pedestrian bridge across the river. They're only working from the Virginia shore to the shore in East Potomac Park. That's due in part to the constraints between the WMATA bridge that you see in gray in the foreground and the new rail bridge. There's just not enough area to really navigate the barges. So they'll only be able to work in one direction, and they always want to leave themselves emergency egress off the water in the event of a flood or anything like that. So from there, you do see the timeline in the top shows they've got the pedestrian bridge done sometime in 2029. There is still a considerable amount of work to be accomplished on the rail bridge. They've got to get the waterproofing done. They've got to build the track across the bridge. They're both tracks across the bridge, but they also got to work on those tie-in locations, both with Long Bridge North and East Potomac Park, as well as the tie-in at RO. Any questions on those animations?
So we are currently tracking to be done with this contract in March of 2030, but obviously that can move depending on their progress. But all right.
With that, we're going to hand it over to Jeff. And similarly, you're going to see some budget numbers that are new, and it's going to tee us up for item number 10. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff.
Good morning, board members. I'm Jeff Pelletier, Senior Director of Projects for Northern Virginia. The bypass project, Franconia Springfield bypass project, I really reached a number of critical milestones in the last month since the last board meeting that I'm pleased to report. First, we've executed our construction management contract and provided NTP to HNTB on June 3rd. This is a procurement we started back in October, so we're really excited to have them on board to support the project in the construction phase. We also received approval of our NEPA evaluation from FHWA, and then we got adoption from the FRA a few weeks later. This is a huge for us because it really clears us at the federal level to start construction and to start right-of-way acquisition. Most critically, we completed negotiation on the Phase 2 amendment and the guaranteed maximum price with the Flatiron Herzog joint venture, which culminated in the execution of the Phase 2 amendment on June 13th. The GMP that we reached is reflected in the proposed amended budget that you see here, $532 million. And then finally, following the execution of the Phase 2 amendment, we issued a limited notice to proceed to the joint venture on the 16th to start construction on the shoe fly package. And so you know, the shoe fly is a separate design package that we have for the bypass that reroutes the mainline tracks away from the construction areas. And really improves our work windows and our track availability. It really improves our schedule, which is a key piece of development of the project using the CMGC approach. So with that NTP, the joint venture is now mobilizing. They're finalizing their subcontracts, ordering materials, and we should see them in the field very soon. So we'll leave it that way.
Is there any questions on that? Okay, we're going to move on to Rob. Are you there, Rob Pickney?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Rob, similarly, these are some new numbers. We have briefed you in closed session on some of these, but these are some new budget numbers that also will be teed up. We're teeing this up for item number 10. So this is a reminder. So Rob's going to give a quick review of this. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Good morning, all. Rob Pinkney, Senior Director of Projects down here in Richmond, overseeing the southern half and western half of the state for projects. Quick summary on the changes and realignment on the sidings we've talked about a couple of times. Just to give folks an idea of where we're looking at here. On the left is the north side, to the right is the south. Beginning on the left, Spotsylvania Station, and on the right, Richmond Staples Mill. So the siding is located between those 2 points. We've done a little bit of realignment here. So the middle orange siding B project has now been deferred out to Phase 3. That was due to some constructability and permitting issues, as well as its proximity to siding F. As you can see, they're very close. So that kind of led to a little bit of less efficient use of that siding. So in negotiations with CSX over the last 6 to 8 months, we've been talking about where the best use of these funds would be. So with that siding F, the crossroads, the purple one, will accelerate into Phase 1. So that's an extension of a third track right near the Spotsylvania Station there. Additionally, during discussions with CSX, there was a proposal to add some crossovers to improve fluidity as trains move north to south. Now we can slot trains into that longer third track. So then moving towards the south, the green siding originally was the Hanover siding. That included a VDOT bridge over the CSX tracks, US 1 Washington Highway. That was costing about $75 million on the low end, and it could have gone anywhere up above $100 million, depending on where we landed with VDOT around design speeds. So in negotiations and discussions, we said maybe we can find a new location, and we did. We moved a little bit north here. We're just south of the Doswell Diamond and the Buckingham Branch intersection, and we'll be locating a 2-mile siding in that location. Additionally, again, some additional crossovers just to the south or north of Ashland. So as trains move to and from Ashland, we have some fluidity to move them across the different tracks. So with that, we've made some budget adjustments. The siding F budget went from $112 million up to $142 million due to cost of dollars today, and as we move closer to construction and design. The old siding was $140 million. That included the Washington Bridge. Now that Taylorsville siding, you can see it shows that it's $86 million. So combining those changes, we've gone from $324 million down to $238 million for a net decrease of $86 million to free up some funds for other projects.
And I do want to point out that we're doing that. We're saving $86 million. We're still running all the Phase 2 Amtrak trains. We're not having a reduction in the train service.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Darian. I would agree, just all around, right? Is that, well done to Mike and team on a net decrease while maintaining service is, I think, a testament to the hard work of the staff here, especially then while adding more ridership, as we saw in DJ's update. So just well done. Bravo Zulu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, and a lot of team effort went into all this. It's not just those who are here in the room. It's many other people, the planning team. I don't want to start naming names. I'll probably leave someone out, but a lot of folks, internal and external, working with CSX and Amtrak and others. It's been a good team effort. FRA as well. We've had good feedback from them, the value engineering on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you for mentioning FRA as our federal partner. Between, I know when there's an administration change, we talked earlier in meetings about how we were going to be working together moving forward and what changes would come. And from the VPRA side, and also from my role as the DRPT director, we have things making very swift progress, and that's a good thing all around. So with that, we're going to come back in item 10 and approve these budget numbers that you just saw. Vote on, entertain a vote on these new numbers and the management reserve. But we've come to item 9. Which will be a closed session to give the board members some project negotiation updates. So with that, I would ask Ms. Dorsch to make a motion to take us into closed session, please.
Happy to do so. I move that the board convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29 for the discussion of public contracts relating to VPRA's Transforming Rail in Virginia projects involving the expenditure of public funds, including discussion of the terms or scope of such contracts, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position and negotiating strategy of the VPRA.
Thank you, Ms. Dorsch. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Who was the second?
John Delandro.
Thank you, Mr. Delandro. All in favor of moving into closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
Or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, we will now move into closed session with only the members of the board. And we will discuss only those matters directly related to the motion. Nothing else will be discussed at this time. So, Jonathan, can you confirm when the live stream is?